You know, lately trying to get your hands on a new Toyota hybrid feels, well, like searching for water in the desert, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Maybe you've experienced this firsthand, or maybe you've just heard the buzz about how incredibly difficult they are to buy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a closer look at the stories capturing our attention. Today, we're diving deep into this exact issue, the surprisingly intense demand for Toyota's hybrid vehicles and the supply shortage that's making them so hard to actually find.
That's right. We've been digging into an article from Inside EVs that really gets into the nuts and bolts of this situation.
Okay.
Our mission today really is to go beyond just the headlines and understand the real underlying reasons why it's such a challenge for you, the buyer, to purchase a Toyota hybrid at the moment.
Okay, so let's kick off with just the sheer scale of this demand. The article doesn't mince words, does it?
Hmm.
It says the desire for Toyota's hybrids is practically insatiable right now.
Insatiable, yeah. And this isn't just, talk. It's reflected in some pretty staggering waiting times globally.
Staggering how?
Well, if you happen to be in India, for example, and you're looking at certain hybrid models, you could be facing a wait of anywhere from 2 to, get this, 9 months.
9 months. Wow.
Yeah. Even in Toyota's home turf, Japan,
Yeah.
the wait can stretch up to 5 months. And for many people listening in Europe, you're probably looking at more than 2 months. So
No.
it's definitely a widespread thing.
And it's not like those of us in the U.S. are just sailing through either. The article specifically calls out the West Coast, saying dealer lots are pretty much empty when it comes to hybrids.
Right.
It actually reminds me, long after the new Prius came out, my spouse and I were just curious, wanted to see one in person.
Oh, yeah.
Every single dealership we called, totally pre-sold. Couldn't even lay eyes on one. It really highlights how strong the demand is. Maybe you listening have run into similar roadblocks.
I wouldn't be surprised. And what's really striking is how fast this demand has ballooned. The Inside EVs piece points out that global sales of hybrids, including the plug-ins, have actually tripled.
Tripled.
Tripled in just the last 5 years. We're talking going from about 5.7 million units sold each year to 16.1 million.
Wow. That's not a slow creep. That's a massive shift in what people are looking for in a car.
Exactly. It's a huge change in consumer preference.
Absolutely. And, you'd think, okay, massive jump in sales. That must be fantastic news for Toyota, right?
Well, yes and no. The article stresses that this huge surge, while great on paper, has put a real strain on the entire supply chain. It's not as simple as just speeding up the assembly lines.
So it's not just the leftover COVID stuff.
No, not primarily. The article makes it clear the current delays aren't mostly about those big factory shutdowns we saw earlier in the pandemic. Instead, the pinch point now is shortages of specific, really crucial components unique to hybrid drivetrains.
Ah,
And this is where it gets interesting looking at the actual companies supplying these parts.
right. The article mentions Aisin. They're a big supplier for Toyota's hybrid systems.
A huge one, yes. And apparently Aisin is struggling with a shortage of high-grade magnets.
High-grade magnets. Okay, for those of us who aren't automotive engineers, why is that specific shortage such a big deal? What do they do?
Well, think of the electric motor in the hybrid. These high-grade magnets are essential for creating the magnetic field inside the rotors and stators, the core spinning parts. Without enough good magnets, Aisin basically can't make enough of the electric motor components,
Ah.
which, directly slows down Toyota's ability to build the whole hybrid car. It's like a fundamental building block they just can't get enough of right now.
Okay, that makes sense. Like trying to bake that cake, but you're short on flour or something essential.
Exactly.
And the article also mentioned Denso, Toyota's biggest parts supplier overall. They're having issues too.
Yes, Denso's facing a different kind of bottleneck, it seems. It's further down their supply chain. Their Tier 2 and Tier 3 suppliers are apparently facing production difficulty.
Tier 2, Tier 3.
Oh,
So the suppliers to the supplier.
precisely. Companies that provide components to Denso, who then supplies Toyota. So if these smaller, maybe more specialized suppliers run into trouble, it creates this ripple effect upwards.
Gotcha.
And in Denso's specific case, these downstream issues are slowing down their output of inverters.
Inverters, another key part.
Absolutely critical. The inverter is kind of like the traffic controller for all the electrical power flowing between the battery, the motor, the engine. Very important piece.
So, okay, it's not just one weak link. It's potentially multiple suppliers, different crucial parts, magnets here, inverters there.
Exactly. Multiple potential disruptions.
And something the article really emphasized that jumped out at me was how centralized this whole supply chain is.
That's a really crucial point. A huge chunk of these specialized hybrid components are made, or at least assembled, primarily in Japan. Then they get shipped out to Toyota's plants worldwide.
Right.
Which means, as the article puts it quite well, even a small hiccup in Nagoya, a major industrial hub in Japan, can cause waves of delays reaching Detroit, New Delhi, and beyond.
Wow.
It really underscores how interconnected everything is in global manufacturing, you know?
Yeah.
A local problem there becomes a waiting list problem for you potentially thousands of miles away.
It really is like a chain reaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
A delay in one, maybe relatively small, part of the process just cascades down the line and impacts when you, the customer, might actually get your car.
Precisely.
Now, Toyota, they must know this is happening. They're aware. The article does touch on what they're trying to do about it, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're not sitting idle. The article indicates Toyota is actively looking at potential solutions. One big thing is trying to find and secure additional suppliers for these key parts.
Diversify, basically.
Exactly. Reduce the reliance on just one or two sources. They're also apparently considering boosting domestic manufacturing in regions hit hard by backlogs, like India, to maybe shorten those supply lines and rely less on everything coming from Japan.
And Toyota has been pouring a lot of money into electrification generally, right? Building battery plants and so on. Does that help with this specific hybrid problem?
Well, yes and no. The article suggests that those bigger investments in electrification will probably help down the line, especially with things like battery production, which hybrids obviously need too.
Okay.
But the immediate bottlenecks we're seeing now, those specific magnets for ASIN, the inverter components for Denso, those are somewhat separate issues that the big battery investments don't directly or at least immediately fix.
Okay. So they're looking towards the EV future, but still grappling with this overwhelming demand for their current hybrids.
Right.
Which kind of brings us back to Toyota's overall strategy, that multi-pathway approach they talk about. They haven't gone all in only on pure EVs like some others. And this current situation, with hybrids being so incredibly popular, it almost seems to validate their thinking, doesn't it?
You could definitely argue that.
Yeah.
The article suggests this intense, sustained demand for their hybrids might be seen internally and externally as proof that their strategy was sound.
That they read the market right.
Yeah, they've consistently argued that different regions, different customers will adopt full EVs at different paces, and that hybrids will remain a really important, relevant choice for a lot of people for quite some time. And, well, the current difficulty in just meeting the demand certainly suggests they weren't wrong about the ongoing appeal of hybrids.
So if you really boil it down, the heart of the problem is Toyota makes a product that a ton of people, maybe including you listening, really want right now. But they're hitting some serious roadblocks in actually making enough of them because of these specific supply chain limits for key hybrid parts.
That sums it up pretty well. That massive surge in demand over the last 5 years just put unprecedented pressure on the specialized suppliers, those magnets, those inverters.
Yeah.
Combine that pressure with a supply chain largely centered in Japan, and, well, you get the long waiting times that buyers like you are seeing across the globe.
So if you are out there waiting for your Toyota hybrid, please know you're definitely not alone in this. It's this perfect storm of huge demand hitting some very specific, very tricky supply issues.
It is. But this situation, it does raise a bigger question, maybe something for you to think about.
Oh.
What does this continued strong demand for hybrids, even with these supply problems, tell us about the bigger picture, about the whole auto industry's transition towards full electrification? It certainly suggests that maybe hybrids aren't just some quick stepping stone. For many consumers, they seem to be the technology that really fits their needs and preferences right now, maybe for the foreseeable future.
That's a really interesting point to chew on. Makes you wonder about the actual pace and maybe the mix of technologies we'll see as the whole car world keeps evolving. Well, thanks for digging into this with me. It definitely sheds some light on why those Toyotas are playing so hard to get.
My pleasure. It's a complicated mix of factors, but it has a very real impact on consumers, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And for you, our listener, what were the key things that stood out to you from this deep dive? We definitely encourage you to keep thinking about those broader implications, what this hybrid demand means as the electric transition continues.
Indeed. It's definitely an ongoing story, and one that will likely keep affecting both car makers and car buyers for a while yet.
And hey, if you found this deep dive useful or interesting, please do us a favor and hit that like button, and consider subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the topics shaping our world.
We always appreciate you tuning in.
We really do. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.